faces of the shotcreting business. They're all around the world. The Hicks crew, I'm just going to give you a little history. We're shotcreters. Our general business is shotcreting. We also do a lot of the other things that go along with shotcreting. Geotechnical works, rock bolting, banking stabilisation, rockfall netting, catch fences, etc. We have a civil construction arm. We do a lot of arch forms and underground difficult tunnel construction jobs. And in the mining business, we do a lot of box cuts and underground spraying by hand. With the shotcrete business, we are the largest civil shotcreting business in Australia. I'm going to say that because I believe it's true. And within that, we also have a rather nice shaft liner, like mine's, very similar in fact. And we also have a sister company which is called, what's it called again? It's called In-Cycle Shotcrete. So we're involved in all aspects of shotcreting, but our main business is civil shotcreting. So anyway, I wrote a paper, and it was brought about by the fact that I was quite enraged by having to continually, over the years after working with myself and my colleagues, trying to improve the appearance of shotcrete and doing more and more quality projects. So I thought I'd write a paper and say, well, it actually isn't too bad at all, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the other options. The main thing I want to talk about is roadways and rail sides of railways, where you can see shotcrete in all of its wonderful glory, for all to see, or otherwise, as we'll see. There's lots of surfaces you can do, trowel, coloured, you can leave it as a gun finish, you can add some colour, but you can make it look like rock or blocks, whatever you want really. Punch in Google the word shotcrete, and this is what comes up. The New South Wales Roads and Traffic Authority design guidelines to avoid, minimise, and if you have to use it, improve the appearance at least, shall we? Now, why did they write this? It doesn't actually say, but I reckon this might have something to do with it. The M2 motorway. Have a look at that. That's not very good, is it? I cringe whenever I even think, let alone drive up there. There is a big upgrade planned this year, and I don't know what it's going to be. We haven't seen any drawings as yet, but they do have an opportunity to make that look a little bit better. Let's hope they do. So, what could they have done differently? Well, they could have planned it better. They could have researched some finishes. You really need to go back to the start and say, well, what do we want this thing to look like? And when that specification's done, they should specify exactly what they want to finish. There are good examples. Put some pictures in there and tell people what you want. So many people can construe it differently when they're tendering a job because they don't know enough about it. They're builders, they're not shotcreters. So they just put a number against it and assume the cheapest price, which may just be simple. So if it's specified up front, every builder's on the same playing field, they're going to price the same thing. This is a job we're doing down in Geelong, Victoria. We're simulating rock. We put the saw nails in, we put the drainage up, we put the mesh up, we then backfill to get a 2 metre drop. We spray the grey finish and we put lots of dowels in. We create our very experienced rock simulator, comes along and he marks out these areas where he wants lumps, and the nozzle one goes back over with his oxide shotcrete and he sprays them in, and then he carves and he sculpts, he smooths a bit to make it look like rock. Then at the final drop, when we get down, it might go down 2 more drops. By the time we're finished, we'll come back from a boom lift or a scissor lift and we'll paint and colour the whole thing. And it will look like rock. For smooth finishes, this is the north-south now, the Clem 7 tunnel in Brisbane. This is a cycleway running all the way along the side of the freeway. They didn't have any room to put in any of what I'll talk about afterwards, precast panels. We came along and said, we can do this, we can give you a good finish, you can use this as a final finish. They saved a hell of a lot of money because they had very difficult spaces in which to work. As you can see, all they had was this width here. So shotcreting was perfect. We just pulled the pumps in, ran the lines out, sprayed it up, and Bob's your uncle. Even if you do a gun finish, the cheapest, most basic form, do a good finish. Get a decent nozzleman, chuck a bit of colour in if you want, but just give it a nice finish. It doesn't have to look like it did before. You can even grow some plants up in. I went to Hong Kong at one stage and I walked around the peak with my lovely wife. The first thing I noticed was my wife, then the view. Then I looked at the side of the peak there, and all along the sides there's dry sprayed shotcrete. It's very hard for the naked eye to see all the public eye to see because it's covered in vegetation. And it's blended in. It's only a gun finish. It might not be any good at all. I don't know. I couldn't see because there's moss. Perfect. Precast panels. They've decided to cover them all up, all the shotcrete up with precast panels. They put shotcrete in, which is concrete, let's face it. They leave it as a rough gun finish. They get to the bottom, they build these beams, first of all, they build a beam at the bottom when they're finished, and they bring all their trucks in. They have all these drawings and specifications for more concrete. And they bring cranes in, and safety could be compromised. They work up heights. The program is elongated extensively, and it's treble the cost at least. All they had to do was think about the finish of the shotcrete. Just do some panels. Why are you covering out with more concrete? I don't understand. Or even grow some plants up it. Some clients that we've come across have embraced our proposals, and highly experienced contractors have been able to deliver some lovely products, which was had cost savings, very happy clients. And I want to give you some examples. I don't have any golden globes or anything handed out to these clients, so I just want to bring them up and applaud them. The Department of Commerce wanted a dam built in Shannon Creek, which is up near Grafton, and Leighton's got the job. We got involved with Leighton's, and they had a spillway there, it was 300 metres long, and the walls were up to 11 metres high in the base there. The water comes down, it spills over to the right down into the river. These are up to 1 metre thick because of the excavation techniques, which was drill and blast. And we went through and did a dental layer, and we put up double reinforcement. The walls were 300mm thick. And we sprayed and we finished all of those. We did test panels. We took them to showed them different examples. We spent a lot of time on this. If you imagine, this is a very steep grade. You imagine trying to put up one-sided formwork down here. These are about 5 metres high. These are 11, as I said, with 1 metre thick concrete. The craneage involved, the cost involved, the fact that the possibilities that it might blow out, they would have been there for 6 or 7 months. We did it in 3, right on the dot, and everyone was over the moon. I mentioned before the Clem 7 tunnel, LBBJV. They had a go at a few different finishes. Here's one of them where they had some precast. They had a problem with soft rock at the top. It was sprayed with grey shotcrete, and then we came over the top and made it look like rock again. One of the young engineers put his neck on the line there to have a go at that, and he got a big tap on the back when it was finished. Again, in Brisbane, we just a little wall. They had some precast units here, which they put in. They couldn't get cranes in to do the middle section. They had some block work here, so we just went and sprayed it. Easy. Could have done the lot like that. Further on we did. These precasts were just under a certain section. Very happy, very quick. So, my conclusion is that given a bit of respect and opportunity, we can definitely do it as good as the others. Not always, there's other retaining options, there's block, you can't do everything, but you can certainly do it as good as precast panels. If we need to get a greater understanding, the guide I hope will do that in some way, and papers like this, I guess, and all of you telling your neighbours and friends, I guess, and anyone who's interested. I don't know if they are, I'm sure they're not, but anyone that you know that might be, we can get the word out there. If we can do more and more examples of some of the stuff that I've just showed you, that'll obviously help massively, because we can prove it. Get rid of the rubbish. That's it, thank you.